Hey, I'm back. 戻ったぞ. So today I want to talk about immersion or 言語漬け and how this is going to help you learn Japanese or any language. 英語を勉強するにもすごく役立つと思います. Just like in my last video, I'm going to have a chart for you guys that you can look at afterwards and during the video. And the first part of the video is going to be about setting up your immersion environment. And the second part of the video is going to be about techniques. So why is immersion important? Well, think of it this way. You might have heard that, the best way to learn a language is to go to that country itself, right? So if you want to learn Japanese, go to Japan. You want to learn English, go to Canada, America, Australia, anywhere, basically, right? Or any language, doesn't matter. Well, that's kind of costly, and, lots of things involved in that. So why don't we just bring the country to us, And the best of all, it can be free, actually. If you're watching this video, you already have an internet connection and you have a device. So yeah, you can start immersing right now. I want to mention that besides the minimum requirements, if you have an extra device or screen somewhere, that'll be very helpful for this. If you don't, it's still okay. And also if you have a Netflix or any kind of, streaming subscription, that will also help. But again, not completely necessary. So as you see here, I have this chart, immersion. So the first part is going to be setting up the environment. So the first one is creating a sub-YouTube account. So a lot of people don't know this, maybe, but you can create another YouTube account, or basically it's going to be called a channel, under your existing YouTube account. So you don't need another email address or anything like that. And you can switch between them. So you know how you have recommendations about stuff you like, right? YouTube recommends stuff to you. Well, the point of this exercise is going to be creating another profile where you only watch stuff in the language you're learning. So you want to learn Japanese, so watch stuff in Japanese. 英語を勉強したかったら、英語の動画だけ見た方がいい. Yeah, just do that. So how I do that is, well, I have an example right now of an alternate account that I made for the purpose of this video, which only has Japanese stuff. So it's still kind of new. So forgive me for the recommendations here. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the top right here, your account. You're going to go to switch account, and then you're going to click on view all channels. Then you can see this pop up here, create a channel. So create it, name it whatever you want. So yeah, now you have another YouTube account. You can switch between them. After recording this, I realized a great tip. If you want to jumpstart your recommendations, just visit the trending tab in YouTube. Make sure you switch your country or your region so it shows you recommendations based on that country. For example, if you want Japan, then just choose Japan. Weather News is actually a very popular channel. I also like Abema channel is also very good. So you can see some comedy, stuff like that. So what I'm trying to get at here is that you should just keep this separate YouTube account just for playing stuff in the background. Like, you don't have to understand anything. I'll get into techniques later, but just search for stuff, and over time, YouTube will know who you are and give you better recommendations. Okay, so moving on. The next tip to set up your environment, podcasts. So I'm actually not a huge podcast person, but I have listened to them in the past. But podcasts are great for listening. They require less attention compared to having a video, less distracting, and you can listen to them when you're commuting, when you're doing laundry, like whatever you want, right? If you use Spotify, if you use Apple Podcasts, just open those up, search for Japanese and stuff in Japanese or in English. There are so many out there. I'm hoping that you guys can maybe add your recommendations in the comments below. But some of the ones that seem to have good recommendations or good reviews, I think it was like Nihongo Kon Teppe is for beginners. Sakura Tips as well has some good, people say it's good. And I think Learn Japanese with Noriko as well too. Those are some of the ones that I recommended. But yeah, these are like aimed at people learning Japanese. You should also search for stuff that is for Japanese native people, right? So look for stuff that's aimed at native people in your language. So, for example, you like anime, listen to maybe anime podcasts by Japanese people. Just look for stuff that is actually in the target language. A Japanese friend of mine, when I ask her for what she listens to, she tells me she listens to Naomi Watanabe's podcast. So Naomi Takes America. I haven't heard of it before, but there is just a whole world out there. So yeah, please let me know your recommendations. I would like to give them to everyone. Just, there's so much out there. Okay, and the last kind of environment one that I want to go over is dual subtitles. So this one is going to require you to have a Netflix account and Chrome browser. So this doesn't work on phones, unfortunately. So let me just show you very quickly how that works. So this is Language Reactor. So it's basically an extension for Chrome that when you install it, it's going to show subtitles in both languages. Basically, you can see the Japanese subtitle at the top and then English translation below. You can disable English translation, so you can only see the Japanese. And there's so many cool things, like for example, you can click on words and a dictionary will pop up. You can see the script on the right-hand side. So as you're watching, you can see everything that's being said. You can go back and forth. You can pause, rewind, replay lines with your keyboard or not. I think this is really a game changer because, yeah, watching stuff in the other language without subtitles is good. You should be doing this for immersion. But when it comes to studying, which I'll get into the next section, it's good to have both subtitles up available. So if you listen to something, it's like, oh, they said this thing. I want to know what that is in English. Or I want to know what that is in Japanese. You can pause it right there and just see immediately. So it helps you to remember things if you just see them a lot. Okay, so now we set up the environment. So now let's actually get into techniques and what to do when you're immersing. So first off, I want to start off with habits. So this doesn't apply only to immersion, but also studying and stuff in general. Everyone doesn't have enough time. I don't have enough time. But if you want something, if you really want to learn Japanese, if you really want to learn English, you have to put in the time and effort for it. Easiest way to do it, techniques that you probably heard of, like time boxing or scheduling stuff in. Schedule a time during the day or the week when you will do immersion, when you'll do studying. I recommend maybe having a little timer like this, like a physical timer, or you can use your phone and stuff as well too. And just say that for just 20 minutes or so, you're going to be actively studying or listening or whatever it is you want, right? Then turn off everything else and just do it. So there's basically two things with immersion. There's passive immersion and active immersion. So once you're doing passive immersion, you're just listening to things, listening as they come, seeing things without subtitles or with subtitles, like whatever, but you're just just being immersed in the language, basically. So you don't have to understand anything, but the thing is that just being in this kind of environment is gonna kind of create the pathways in your brain. It's gonna help you get used to the language itself, which is very important. With active immersion, it's kind of similar, but you're actually paying attention to what's happening and you're pausing stuff. And technique-wise, so how we have 4 senses, right? So basically listening, reading, speaking, and writing. So the way to remember something is, like I mentioned in my last video, like mnemonics, right? Why mnemonics work is basically because you have a picture and it's creating like a memory for you. So as an example, if I want to study this line in Japanese or English or whatever, you listen first.
Kanja.
So you listen to the word, then you read it, you try to read it, and then you try to speak it out loud, and then you write it down. So once you do that, you've kind of engaged your 4 senses for that one word or phrase or like whatever it is that you're learning. And then when you do Anki, that kind of stuff, repetition, it comes up again. Or even if you don't do Anki, as long as you listen to it again. Once you're doing immersion, you're going to be hearing a lot of the same phrases and stuff that you heard before. You might have heard a phrase that you studied, or you might have studied a phrase like yesterday, but then it came up again in a TV show that you're listening to. You're like, hey, I heard that before, or I read it before, and I heard it before. That's what that means. So again, this is just being used to things, being used to the other language. not just rote memorization from a textbook, you know? The last technique I have here is more of an advanced technique. I might have mentioned it in the other video, but sentence mining. So what this means is basically taking sentences or words even that you're learning from native materials and putting them into Anki so you can study them later. Teaching you guys how to do this in this video is going to be very, very difficult. I think it's very involved. It is completely worth it though. So the thing is, I'm going to do the cop-out thing, and I'm just going to recommend you other videos to learn how to do this. So in English, to learn Japanese, I recommend Jouzu Juls video here, The Ultimate Guide to Japanese Sentence Mining for Anki, which is released very recently as of the time of this recording. As very comprehensive video, so they'll tell you everything you need to know, much more than this video is doing. And 日本人の方、この動画ね、留学なし、字幕なしでドラマを見れて英語を話せるようになった方法。This video by Yuuto channel is actually very good, very interesting video. He talks about immersion as well, and he talks about Anki, and he shows you how to do Anki cards. So this is one of the only videos I've seen with Japanese people doing this Anki technique that we're doing to learn Japanese. So I really recommend this video. If you take away anything from this video, is that other people as well are making really good videos on this kind of stuff. Yeah, so this whole thing has just been like a very quick and dirty guide for you guys. If you have any questions, again, please let me know in the comments. If you have recommendations, please let me know in the comments. There's another part to this, basically, getting a ton of input from TV and that kind of stuff, but there's also output. Like hopefully you're shadowing as well too when you're doing this, but next you gotta talk to real people, right? So that's what the theme of the next video is going to be about. It's going to be about the language exchange and then talking with native speakers, which is benefiting you in your output, but also making friends and that kind of stuff. So please look forward to that video. Thanks again for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye. またね。